Yeah, what is it?
Hi, you're talking with the City of Lebanon Police. My name is Officer and I'm with my partner, Officer. We came to check up on you due to multiple complaints from the guests at this hotel. We just want to talk to you really quick for a moment. Can you please open the door?
I'm fine, now leave.
And I'm sure you're right. I'm sure everything's fine. But we want to make sure that you're okay. Could you please open the door and be so kind to answer some questions for us?
I'm not asking again, and I won't be answering any questions. Leave now.
Sir, please don't make this any harder than it has to be. Open the door before things escalate any further.
Shot fire, requesting backup.
On February 1st, 2020, on a small town in Pennsylvania, the police were called for a welfare check after multiple guests at a Hampton Inn hotel complained that a man in one of the rooms was causing a disturbance. The police came around 9:17 p.m. and met William Burk, who was in the middle of an argument with somebody over the phone. After some back and forth, the situation escalated to the point where William started to open fire towards the door, just above the officers. Backup was sent, and shortly after, the SWAT team took over the operations, and after a long and tense night, along with even more gunshots being fired, around 2:30 a.m., William Burk surrendered. Burk was charged with terroristic threats, reckless endangering, and criminal mischief. And to many, that is it. The story is over. To many, William Burk is seen as an angry man who, in the span of a night, ended up taking away his free life for many years to come. But for the small few, they may ask themselves who even was William Burk and how did he ended up in that ordeal in the first place? The reality of the matter is that there are very similar stories out there that you can compare and contrast to this one. Well, I'm here to talk about this one in a more specific way, because when you think about it, you only hear one side of the story. And granted, I'm not trying to defend anybody, any sides, whether the police or William Burke's side. I'm not here to blame anybody either. Instead, I will tell you the side of the story that I know, since I was actually there when it happened. Not the night of the shootout, mind you. I was sleeping like a baby, if I'm being honest, but I was there before and after the events, what led to the regretful night and the aftermath of everything. You see, my dear listeners, this whole ordeal started with a construction company from Georgia, and William Burk was one of the many men who came to PA to stay at the hotel for a project. What started as a few weeks turned into a 3-month delay, where, to put it simply, the workers were being paid just to stay and wait in the rooms, and as far as I understood it, they weren't really allowed to come back home or do anything of the sorts. And if I'm being honest, Lebanon in itself, Lebanon, PA, the town where this ordeal took place, is not exactly a great place to have fun, at least not for the younger crowd. The company workers not really knowing the land, not knowing where they can go and have fun, not really having a vehicle where they can travel to places where they can enjoy themselves, they just remain in the hotel, just either doing nothing or just doing the best next thing. And you may be asking yourself, what is that next best thing? Well, for a group of guys that couldn't really go too far away from the hotel since they were needed for work, if there was any work to do, they spent their time either talking to the staff at work, exploring the walkable areas that you could go to, such as Walmart. And once there, they bought the newest fashion in clothing wise. They bought the newest gadgets such as the PS5, the newest iPhone at the time, and guns. Quite a few guns actually. Yes, to my understanding, guns are easier to obtain in the state of Pennsylvania due to the lack of licenses needed to buy them. So, to say the least, many of these men bought themselves handguns and kept them in their rooms. And I can tell you from personal witness, for personal experience, seeing them do this, I often, when my job required me to enter the rooms from time to time, whether to fix things or what have you, and I often see these tools, if you want to call them that, in the counters, in the showers one time, in the floors, but regardless, it's important to the story that you know this, but that's beside the point. The point of the matters is that, and on an even bigger note, money and buying things tend to become somewhat of things of the back burner when boredom becomes the least of your worries. Things like becoming homesick and depression start to creep in, and to many of these men, William Burk included, they started to feel the effects of being away from home for such a long time. This mental sickness became so bad that unfortunately one of the men ended up losing his life by his own hands just a week prior to the events of the shooting. To say the least, the morale was low in this company, and it may have very well been one of the main reasons why William did what he did, sending him to the edge of his breaking point. Think about it. Even if they spoke the least amount of times, they were still a company that traveled to different places together, working together. Even if they hated each other, they still had to break bread at some point. They still had to speak to each other, and they still had to work together in some level. I'm not saying that they were friends or good friends even at that, but at the very least, that broke each and every one of those men in a way. I already talked about the events that took place a week later with William, so I will tell you what happened the next day on the 2nd of February. Very early in the morning, I went to the hotel to learn of everything that took place, and due to my position, I was given access to the room in itself where William barricaded himself in. To paint you a picture, you could say that it was something kinda like a movie. Bathroom and bed stained and dirty due to the days of living in a closed space. A total of 3 shots were fired, one of the door, one in the bathroom, and one in the bed area. It told the story of a man going through one of the hardest ordeals in his life, each bullet hole giving detail of what was going through each time he fired. Things like the broken mirror or the dented wall. Who knows, perhaps he didn't mean to fire a second time or a third, but I guess that is just a speculation at the end of the day. I walk around the room, seeing his belongings that he left behind, such as clothing, his PS5 along with a mountain of games, his worn out boots ready to complete the project he came to Lebanon to do. Not too far after, I thought I saw everything that the room had to offer, until I heard a sound coming from the bathroom. Once I made my way there, I saw that it was a phone, his phone. Even after hours of the ordeal happening, you could still see messages popping into the phone. Messages from parents, siblings, friends, and other loved ones, I'm sure, saying things like,
Honey, please give up.
Turn yourself in, boy. You're not alone in this.
Please tell me you're okay. I don't want you to die.
William Burk was a man with dreams and determination, just like you and I. A hard worker, all things considered, a family man with a life full of friends and loved ones who care for him. He made mistakes, and as we know already, he paid for those mistakes. And this is not a video defending him or his actions, but at the same time, this is not a video making him out to be a monster. I want to give a name behind the people who commit this type of crimes, the type of crimes having to do with mental anguish. And I want to paint William for what he was, as someone who made a choice, not out of a bad intent, but out of a pain and mental suffering. He was broken and hurt, and he probably felt like his life was over at that moment. I couldn't find where he is nowadays, whether he's serving time still, most likely he is, or if he's out there being a free man. But if there's anything to learn about William Burk and the company that he was working for, is that if you're going through a situation, whether it's a mental sickness or something more physical like an ordeal happening back home, don't wait until it's too late to do something about it. Seeking help is not a bad thing. Work is not everything in life, especially when they start to stop you from living a life. Anyhow, this is just my opinion and the one that I give to you. Do with it what you will. And that was just my point of view of the things that took place on the 1st of February 2020 at the Lebanon PA Hotel, and a battle between the cops and a man took place. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you care for it, like, subscribe, and do all the nice things. And also, Hector just wanted me to tell you that he hopes that you have a wonderful night or day or afternoon. Isn't that right, Hector? Yay!